taking your voice around the world. Join us on KVRN's newest and hottest TV and radio talk show, Our Voice, hosted by Craig Richardson, Thursdays from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. weekly. TCC Global's on the move. Join us.
Tune into KVRN's Our Voice, hosted by Craig Richardson. Are you tired of racism and underclass discrimination? Well, so are we. Let's band together and create a movement of all colors. Our Voice is hosted in a series of shows called Pushing Forward, dealing with racial, educational, financial, and spiritual topics that handicap us from living the life that we deserve. So join us every Thursday from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. And let's not just complain. Let's find solutions together.
In 1998, the nation was crippled after the dragging death of James Byrd in Jasper, Texas. And still today, one after another, young black men have been murdered at the hands of their peers as well as police officers across the country. Why is this? And what must we do to bring a true change to our country? Today on Our Voice, Craig Richardson speaks to Rosalind Wright and Amelia Wright Mosley, the mother and sister of Alfred Wright, a young man whose life was cut short just because of his race.
Thank you for tuning in to Kingdom View Radio Network.
T-Charles Productions. And we won't stop until we get justice. R.I.P. to the loved ones. And he woke up this morning, put his clothes on, kiss his wife and hug his kids and crunk his truck up, and go to work and feed his kids on the day-to-day. He not knowing today was gonna be his last day. Around 5 the truck would start, so he called his wife called his mama to come pick him up. And by the time they got to him, they confound him. His phone pocket dialing, they heard breathing. Manhunt for 3 weeks, no effing right. A couple clothes in his watch, but still no effing right. 3 days, the sheriff called the hunt off. Texas Rangers, state trooper, they stopped looking for him. But the Lewis kept looking and they found him. The same spot they looked before, that's what they found him. Shot with drugs, ear cut, and his throat cut. Afro land in the grass with one sock on justice.
What happened to the peace we had in our heart? That we know y'all had. Seems that it's so hard to make it fall. So let's go, y'all.
My husband and I, when we walked into the package store, we noticed there were surveillance cameras. And even it was 2 in the front of the building.
Yeah.
And well, I should say a monitor on the inside.
Yeah.
And so I could literally see it surveilling around the liquor store.
So it's on.
Yes, it was. It was on the night we went in.
Okay.
Couple of days later, they disappeared.
Wow.
Yeah, they disappeared, and the sheriff ended up telling us 2 or 3 different stories that the camera was broken. He told, he told me the camera was broken. He told my husband that it was just a live feed.
Wow.
That it really wasn't working.
But when you went back, were the cameras still there, or were they missing?
The cameras were there the first couple of days.
But then the cameras disappeared.
But then they disappeared.
So why didn't get them fixed?
I have no idea.
So they just took the cameras? And
someone took them because they were no longer there.
Okay. Now, the reason I'm saying it like this because little things make a big difference.
Yeah.
And it's nothing but a blessing that you guys even recognize that they had cameras.
Oh yeah, I'm a discerner.
I know.
And I really observe my surroundings, no matter where I go.
Yeah. So after the issue with the cameras, and because that would have been your source of hope for that moment.
Yes.
That maybe we'll know the truth because we have eyes here, the electronic eyes that can tell us what really happened, and then to come back and they're gone.
Well, see, that's why I approached the sheriff about the cameras.
Yeah.
And and he made the statement that they were broken.
Wow.
And because I thought there was a little hope there.
Yeah. And that also, when you start having all these things coming against you, it begins to feed your conscience of like what's really going on.
Exactly.
It's something bigger than just a missing baby. It's something bigger than what we see. And so after After the issue with the cameras, what was the next step?
Well, the next morning was I actually drove home. I was going to go home to take a shower, change clothes, and possibly lie down and take a nap if I could.
Yeah.
Well, my daughter-in-law called me, and because she had to take the children with her son to school. And so she said, are you going to go back up there? And I said, yes, I'm going. She said, well, I'll ride with you. So I waited till she, took the baby to school, and then I went by and picked her up.
Yeah.
And so we proceeded to go up there because she said that one of the deputies had contacted her to let her know that they had a warrant out for my son's arrest.
Okay.
And the pickup truck there, the owner at the store wanted the pickup truck moved.
Mm-hmm.
So we make it up there, and we went straight to the CL&M package store because they told us to meet them there.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a red truck pulled up.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm just sitting there. We're just sitting there in the vehicle.
Okay.
And just observing. And a guy pulled up in a red pickup truck, and he has something in his hand when he goes in. I couldn't see what was in his hand at that particular time. And he goes in, he stays in and talk with the clerk. I know he stayed in there for about 20 minutes. Well, about 20 minutes later, here come two deputies.
Wow.
And they immediately, instead of them coming out and addressing us, they went into the package store and stood in there and talked with the gentleman and the clerk that was in the store. Well, they stayed in there for about 15 or 20 more minutes, and then they came out. One of the deputies came out, and he had something in his hand. He brought it over to where my daughter-in-law was standing, and he said, can you identify this? And it was a watch. Okay. And so she said, well, it looks like, it could be one of his, because he had a lot of different watches. And so I asked him, I said, well, okay, where did you get that from?
Yeah.
Just like that immediately.
Yeah.
Well, the gentleman in the red truck brought it here. I said, well, okay, that doesn't make any sense to me. Why would he bring a watch over here to the CL&M package store and not take it to the sheriff department? Yeah. Immediately, when I started asking a lot of questions, then they got very nervous. Immediately. And so, anyway, the guy said, well, can y'all identify this watch? And so the guy comes out, and I asked him, I said, okay, where did you find this watch? Yeah. And he told me, he said, well, I found it about 200 yards from my cattle guard. I said, your cattle guard? Okay, where do you live? And he pointed in the opposite direction. Wow. So immediately the deputy tells me, well, he did not head towards town. He ended up going the opposite way. So I asked him, I said, well, okay. I said, my daughter-in-law said that you all had a warrant out for my son's arrest. And he said, well, she needs to move this truck. I said, well, why would she move well, he told me, he said, well, let me see, how did he say that? Because I asked him, I said, well, why did she need to move the truck? And he said, well, she just need to move it because the clerk on the inside is upset about the truck being in front of her store, like that. And so,
but this is evidence.
Oh yeah, exactly.
And the sheriff and the police,
the deputy
was with you.
Deputy David West is his name.
Okay.
And so he told her she needed to move it, and then finally, look, she goes and moved the truck, pulled the truck up to the right side of the building. And I asked him, I said, well, look, I said, aren't you all going to fingerprint and do all of this? I'm just asking, different questions. And he said, oh, no, she contaminated it immediately. I said, no. I said, her DNA is in the truck anyway. I said, because she ride in it all the time.
Yeah. Wow.
101.
Wow. We're going to take a call right now. We got some calls coming in. So hold on 1 second. Okay, they're on the line right now? Okay, who am I talking to? Caller, are you there? Caller, are you there? Caller, are you there? Okay.
Hello?
That's Anelia, right?
Yes.
Okay.
This
Now
is Anelia.
Okay. Well, since I got you on here, now I remember you and your sister had called me, and we was talking about what happened and what was going on, and I had a dream. I don't know if you knew this. I had a dream that night before I talked to Anelia and Cassie, and the dream I had was that he was laying by a stream. And not only was he laying by not a stream but like a creek, something like a little pool of water, and something was wrong with his feet. That either he had one sock on or one shoe on or one sock. I couldn't discern what it was. But then I saw a Caucasian man. So I don't know if I told you, it was in like one of those deer things that go in the sky.
Deer stand.
A deer stand, but it's real high, and he had a shotgun. And he was looking at. And I told Anelia about the sock, and I told her about the creek, but I didn't think about telling her about the white man or the Caucasian man that was standing in the deer stand with the gun pointed at him, because I couldn't put it together. But what God told me was it was a person of authority. And I just got that the other day, and I'm like, wow, it was a person of authority. But because you guys did, Anelia, do you remember that conversation? We was talking about his the creek and all that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I do remember you calling and sharing with us the vision you had, and immediately, I mean, we understand, the gift that, God has given you as being a prophet. And you've been so accurate in the past, when you shared your dreams and visions with our family. So when we got that, at least it already set something within our mind and our spirit, even though we was praying that we would still find him alive, maybe injured, and, having, being near water. But the fact that, his body was found, on a property near a lake, and he was found with one sock missing. Still today, we don't know where the other sock is. But I can say, our family really appreciates the gift that God has given you, and even though maybe it was painful for you to share what you saw, but you did still, shared it with us, and it did give us, I'd say, a little piece of preparation for what we eventually discovered.
Okay, we have a call coming in. Let's take this phone call. Hello, caller. How you doing? Caller?
Yes, sir.
How you doing? What's your name?
My name is Chris. I'm calling from Chicago.
Chicago. How you doing, Chicago? You have a question? Have you a statement or?
Not per se a question. I think we all have questions on this case and on this issue. The only statement I would like to make, I grew up in Shelby County, definitely aware of all the racism and everything that goes on. In my mind, I definitely can remember the James Byrd situation.
Yeah.
The only statement that I would like to make, and that I feel personally, is that the United States Constitution was written for white males.
That's true.
And until we can get that Constitution changed for everyone, for white people, for black people,
yes,
for Asian people, for women, for everyone, until that is done, I feel that there won't be a change. I'm in an interracial relationship. I was disowned from my family in Shelby County, and I had to move back up to Chicago.
Wow.
And I have since then I've taken classes in facts and theory of racism, other social theory classes. And to me, from all of my studies and the things I've done, it goes down and it boils down to the Constitution being written for white males.
You're right. You're right. Well, one thing that I recognize is that being a black male, that the law has to change to give us a fighting chance. The law has to change. But that's only the start. Once the laws change, we have to change as well. We have to be, as a unit, as a whole, not just blacks, not just white, not just just anyone. We all have to change, because we have to be able to gel together. We have to be able to help each other, love each other, and focus on the common good of humanity. And again, I'm spiritual. We have to bring God back into the equation for that to happen. As long as God's not in the equation, we're still going to be having people doing the things that they do and thinking that they're right. They're going to be doing all this evil, hateful, all these different things to each other, not realizing that this is not the will of God. We have to have that relationship with Christ. Put it back in school. Put prayer back in schools. Put God back in His rightful place in America, so we can begin to heal as a nation. And you're right. We have to do that. We have to take out time to focus on the laws and hold people accountable. Hold our congressmen and congresswomen accountable.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Just me being a white person, I have a lot of white guilt, and I know I've heard that from people telling me I shouldn't have that or I should. But until the white males allow the other races and women as well to have the same opportunities that, like you said, that God has put out in the Bible and that is written in the Bible, until the white males of our society allows it to happen, it will not change.
Amen. I appreciate that, man. Thank you for calling.
You are now tuning in to Kingdom View Radio Network. Yeah. Although I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I don't fear no evil, for I know the Lord is watching my steps. Into His kingdom He has blessed me and my brothers as well. He's brought you here because you've told Him that you needed some help.
You've tuned in to KRVN's newest innovative talk show, Our Voice, hosted by Craig Richardson. Craig Richardson was underestimated as a youth. He was thrown in prison for his faith. Everything he had was taken from him, yet he still goes to the streets, talking to our children, encouraging our mothers, and mentoring our fathers. Now he's giving us all a platform to be heard on his new hit show, Our Voice, aired in over 130 countries live on KVRN Radio.
Thank you for tuning in to Kingdom View Radio Network. Thanks for tuning in to Kingdom View Radio Network. Hosted by the one and only Craig Richardson. You are now tuning in to Kingdom.
Yes, you're making yourself a target.
It's my prerogative to have whatever car I want to have.
It is your prerogative.
It's not. You can't just stop me because I have a Crown Victoria.
Yeah. So again,
can I share something real quick?
Go ahead. Sure.
I first of all, I just wanted to address the young Caucasian male that just called in. I want to first thank him for even being on the line and just having the heart to call in and be a part of this conversation.
Yeah, it takes a lot.
I appreciate the value of him bringing about the importance for us to find ways to get the Constitution changed, because again, yes, it was written for white males, and for us to be in 2015 and still have the same Constitution, it's going to be very difficult for anything to change without that being changed. So we need to find out as a people on what can we do to get the Constitution changed, and we need to be asking our local candidate on what we can do as a community to get this changed. Yeah. Also, I definitely believe in God, and this is my thing. Whether they put prayer in school or not, we as a community, we need to make sure prayer is within our home.
Exactly.
But we need to be given key strategies on how to take care of our business in our community.
Yeah.
It's time out for us just never getting up and going and voting. We need to find out who is running. We as a community, we need to make sure we have qualified people that have a heart for our community, not just for black people, not just for white people, not just for Hispanics. but we need people that have a heart for all people and humanity, period.
Exactly.
It's one thing to be in positions and power and authority just to be there because, you know, you want certain benefits, but in order for us to be, or in order for us as leaders to impact our communities, we have to have a heart to serve. Exactly. And we need leaders like a Ray Lewis in Jasper, Texas, that really go beyond the call of duty. Yes, he's a pastor. He has his own business. But when a man like that will stop what he's doing, bring all of his resources, his church, his family, and to assist in the efforts of finding my brother, those are the type of people we need to be putting in office as mayor, and not people that don't really care about everybody. So you may not know who Ray Lewis is, but trust me, there is a Ray Lewis in every community. Amen. And those are the type of people we need to be pushing to get in the office, and we need to support them through the whole process and make sure they get in office. If Donald Trump can get on TV and utilize all of this media for his advantage, we can do the same thing, get on our Facebook page, get on our Twitter, on our Instagram, and push the people that really care about our community.
You know,
back to you, Mr. Craig.
You know, one thing, and you absolutely right. You are so right in so many different dimensions. You're right. One thing that I was thinking about yesterday is that, you know, why are we in this situation? You know, why are we as African Americans where we at? And one thing that came to me was the fact that we are in this situation because we are cattle. We're being used. Financially, we're being used. And I looked at the fact, we got a call coming in. But let me take this call and I'll come back and we'll talk about that. Is he on? Hey, how you doing, caller? How you doing?
Hello.
How you doing? What's your name?
Douglas Wright Sr.
Hey, brother Wright, how you doing?
Just fine.
It's good to hear your voice.
Yep.
It's good to hear your voice. It's been a long time.
I would like to say thank you for giving us the opportunity to express our innermost feelings and to let the world know, and everyone who's listening, our feelings about what happened, possibly happened to our son, because it's definitely, with all the things that are going on, it's a time that is shedding light on the dark things that have happened in the past and have been covered up.
Yes, sir.
And we definitely know that our son, his demise was not something that he done to himself, but it was definitely done by someone.
Exactly.
And again, we appreciate the opportunity, and you giving us the opportunity to hopefully shed some light on his demise and the demise of others, and to hopefully shed light on the fact that this is something that's been going on a long time, and it's time that which has been done in the dark be brought to the light.
Amen.
And we know that our son did not. He had every reason to live, no reason to die. He'd worked hard to accomplish what he'd accomplished, and it's no way that he would have went away so easy and threw away what he had accomplished.
Well, let me just say this first. You know, what happened to Alfie, and anyone who has common sense, and this is basically as I can get with this, anyone who has common sense can recognize, look at the case, and can tell something is wrong. Anybody with common sense can look at this situation and put 1 and 2 and 3 together, A, B, and C together, and they can recognize that there's something underhanded is going on. Anyone who does not see it don't want to see it. It'll make them have to recognize who they are, and it makes them have to recognize how evil they are. It makes them recognize that they're the villain, you know. And I mean, even if you didn't do the actual murder, if you support the fact of not investigating. You are a part of the problem. If you support not digging in deeper to this situation, to this case, then you are part of the problem.
That's right.
And that's what drives me as I think about this case, as I look at this case. I was up late last night looking at different YouTube videos, different segments on it, and my heart began to hurt all over again. Brother Wright, you are a good man of God. You have a good heart, and your whole family is a good family. And there's not too many good families. No, just all across the board. There's not too many good families. We have good family, but you have put a lot into your children. You put a lot into your family, and when I met you, I can sense it. When I met I'm like, man, this man is. I thought I wanted to be my father for a little bit, because I didn't. My father died when I was 6, and I'm like, this is a good man, but I know that you put a lot into your children, you put a lot into your family, and I know that what happened with Alfie, there's a bigger purpose behind the pain.
Yes, it is.
And so, but I believe that what happened to Alfie is a setting stone for other things to fall in place, that we can see a change in this country, because I believe right before he passed, Trayvon Martin had just passed.
That's right.
And so all these things are going on now. It's like a chain reaction. Now we're beginning to see these things happen as relate to our people, young men and young women now.
Yes.
Being beat and being tortured, and all this stuff is going on. So I thank you, Brother Wright. Now, how are you feeling, and now where you stand now in this case, as relate to what's been done, what needs to be done? Anything that you want to say in reference to the people who may not know what's going on now, or how we got to this place where we're at now? Yeah.
First of all, I must say that out of all that has been going on, again, it really has thrown a great light on the darkness that happened with Alfred, because he was in the early stages of when it happened to him. It seemed like that was again a chain reaction, and I must say that I thank God for my faith. Amen. But there's been many days that I was saying to myself, what would I have done if I did not have the faith in God? Amen. To do what He said He would do? That He said that believe that He said the vengeance is mine, I will repay. And because there have been times that I've really had thoughts of what I could do to retaliate or do something to maybe get a level feel on what had happened, because in the process of the whole search and all of that, I learned so much, and I was told and asked, and I saw so much that did not correlate with justice.
Exactly.
Prevailing. And I mean, because I was so close to it, my wife and we was close to it from maybe about 30 minutes to 45 minutes from the time that he's supposed to have disappeared. And there's so many things that we heard and we saw that was not relevant with law enforcement.
Yeah.
Doing that job and doing the right thing as law enforcement to be sure that justice was being done. I mean, and if we start telling the things that we know and the things that was not right, anybody who listens will say, oh my goodness, I mean, how in the world could the Texas Rangers not do something? How in the world did the Department of Justice not come in and do something with this case against the Sabine Sheriff Department? Because up to this day, there was not a question asked to us. There was never a question projected toward us from the Sheriff Department to even make you think that they was going to investigate for what happened to Alfie.
No, I know that which officer was this that you guys didn't want to be on the case that they put on the case anyway?
Danny Glover.
Now this officer.
Danny Young. I'm sorry.
Young? Okay.
Danny Young.
Danny Young. Now this officer, there was a lot of conflicting paperwork.
Yes.
Am I correct?
Yes.
Tell me about this. About his name.
His name is Danny Young.
He submitted a file of something.
Honey, you want to expound on that?
Honey, I can understand you, but I can't really understand what he said.
Okay, can you expound on Danny Young? And I'm going to say this before my husband gets started. There were a lot of different things that started taking place with this man because my husband let him know that it was a conflict of interest.
Yeah.
Because my husband actually coached his daughter.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's a state trooper in the city of Jasper.
Okay.
And so that was the conflict that my husband tried to get over on him. And a few days later, and I don't think this was ever reported, someone broke into my husband's office and stole his computer. See, that was never told.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
But anyway, they stole the computer. I don't know what they thought they were going to find on the computer.
Yeah.
But they stole the computer out of his office.
Wow. Wow.
But anyway, my husband had more contact with Danny Young than I did.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Actually, I knew Mr. Young again I knew that he was the Texas Ranger, the District Texas Ranger, but I knew him personally because I was a PE coach at the school, and I was actually in 2013. I was actually coaching his daughter. She was one of the students in one of my PE classes.
Okay.
And so I knew him very well. And so when this came down, it was actually told to me during the weekend of the search that, and it's amazing how they just came and said things to me, the sheriff department, they just spoke to me and said things to me, and I would just listen and take in what they was telling me. And I believe it was the sheriff that said, yes, me and Danny worked together as DPS officers when we were DPS officers, and I was his sergeant.
Yeah. And
so when the search was on and we found my son and Danny Young came in, I had already forbid the Sabine County Sheriff Department to touch our son because of all the irregularities that it went on, and I told them that they're going to have to call someone else, and so they called the state trooper. So when he came, the Texas Ranger, so when he came, it dawned on me, this is a conflict of interest because you all, the sheriff, and y'all have a working relationship as state troopers. So,
wow.
I mean, in the good can really come out of this. So I told him that he could not touch my son's body either, so he would need to call someone else. So he became very upset and irate with me and said, "But you don't trust me?" I said, "No, it's not that I don't trust you, but I just have to do what I have to do, and I just have to do what is right, towards my son." And so he did eventually call his supervisor, and had him to send another ranger in from the Lufkin area, and he made it late that night, and when he came in, he said that it was too late to do anything, so set everything for the next day. And so he came in the next day, and they kind of prepared my son's body to move him. Danny Young supposedly was off the case.
Yeah.
But in the process of my son being taken to the medical examiner's office, Danny Young dismissed the other Texas Ranger to go home, and he still went to the medical examiner's office with my son when he knew that he had been asked to be off the case.
tide rolls in and the pressure thickens, you don't have to be afraid. Just give yourself away to the
tracks of the Blue Line here at Washington and Broadway. And if that's not enough, all this goes down right in the middle of the busy afternoon rush.
To the
Just to deal with the metro shutdown.
I'm asking for a favor. Please back up.
From Skyfox, disruption on the Blue Line. And the train, see it down from there, stopped right before the big sign and all the protesters, causing big delays on the Blue Line that runs from downtown LA to Long Beach. It's a major commuter line temporarily shut down.
Will never again be felt. It's just like breathing.
LAPD with a warning, and then come the arrest. Protesters who vow not to back down, upset over what they call police brutality here and all across the country.
A mother who is standing up for them, and the police stand down like a dog.
Breathing underwater. It's just like breathing underwater. You will need no amnesty, being pure tranquil, and that is what you'll find. If you just open up your mind to the coldness, to the coldness. It's just like breathing underwater. 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 Close your eyes and you will see the beauty of your belief. In the silence there is hope.